Welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specializing in the wedding industry. Each week, we'll explore the strategies, stories, and insider tips that help wedding professionals thrive. You'll hear solo episodes filled with actual advice for social media and inspiring conversations with esteemed wedding industry guests. Thank you for tuning in and letting this podcast be a part of your day. Let's get started. Welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Nina Adio, and on this podcast, we talk all things wedding industry marketing. As a matter of fact, today we're really diving into it because on a past episode, episode 170, I detailed out my exact Instagram strategy for attracting more local leads on social media, specifically Instagram. And those are my favorite episodes to do. That is kind of the strategy that I Do Wedding Marketing has been built upon. And the episode did well. But then what happened after was getting feedback from people. One in particular from Heidi Nielson, a live painter in California, who was so enthused. She was like the listener I've always prayed for, who actually will message. She messaged and said, "Oh my God, I've been trying this. It's amazing. Here's what's happened in a day. Here's what happened in a week. If you ever want to talk about this on the podcast, I'd love to come on." So sold. I love when somebody can pitch an excellent topic to me. So what's really great is for those listening, Heidi, as I mentioned, is a live painter. So that's a very niche service. It's not something that everybody planning a wedding gets. It's not like a wedding dress or a photographer. It's much more specific and not quite as common, though I think with the experience-based trends, it's certainly emerging. So it's going to be really great to hear Heidi's feedback because her lead sources may not be as traditional as everybody else's. Her booking sequences may not be as traditional. It may not be something that's always done 9 to 12 months out. It could be something that's done more last minute. So these are all questions I'm going to ask her while asking about the organic engagement strategy and why and how and if it's worked for her. So as I mentioned, Heidi Nielson is a live event and mural painter in Los Angeles, California. From whimsical weddings to grand galas, Heidi uses her impressionistic style to capture not just what the eye sees, but what the heart feels, which is so important for wedding days. Through her business with Love from Heidi, she offers wedding entertainment nationwide that moves guests into the heart of your fairy tale. So let's bring on Heidi. Heidi, welcome to the podcast.
Nina, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. From binging your podcast for weeks now, I feel like you're an old friend. So I'm
Oh,
like, this is great. I get to sit down and have some juice with an old friend.
yes, Heidi already knew I had my coffee, so she asked about what coffee cup today. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll already be getting to see some of Heidi's artwork behind her, right? These are all your pieces. And
Indeed.
she has
And I
something
wore my
for me.
favorite earrings for you today,
Oh,
too,
these
since we
earrings,
have
I
footage.
had to stop her. They're little goldfish in like the little bag. So if you're not watching and you're just listening, you may want to check YouTube just for that. And at the end of this, we can't let me forget, I have a little gift from Heidi that I thought would be fun to open up on the show. So we'll save that for the end. But I think
I'm excited for
first,
that part.
I know. I think everyone really wants to know from your words. I gave an intro at the top, but tell us a bit about your business and how you were marketing before you started your binge journey of the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast.
Yeah, you bet. So I am in the baby, maybe toddler stage of my wedding business life cycle. It's my second year in business. Talking just specifically about the event paintings, I've been painting murals much longer and it's all a little bit different. So, specifically on the events, last year, my first year in business, I was, to be honest, mostly telling myself I was marketing, while I was hiding. I was dealing with a lot of fear of rejection, with a lot of, as us sensitive creatives often have, memories of childhood bullying and not wanting to be exposed and not wanting to be seen. And so I would make a little post on Instagram from time to time. I might get really brave and pop on a live once a month. And otherwise being kind of quiet. I didn't want people to not like me. And if people didn't know me, then they couldn't not like me. I have a degree in spiritual psychology, so you'll hear me talk a lot about my own psychology going through it. Psychological safety and emotional well-being and upliftment for myself and my clients is really, really important to me. And I was really struggling to get to that point of psychological safety for myself. I kind of skipped ahead to what I was doing marketing before and didn't tell you about my business. I'm a live wedding painter, and I've mentioned being in the baby stages of my business. So last year was a lot of trying to be like other live wedding painters, trying to emulate what they were doing. I did give away several weddings to people that I knew, which was great. I love that I did that. It was wonderful for experience and portfolio building. And this year I have started to feel out, who am I and what do I have that's different than other live painters, instead of trying to be something I'm not. And what I found is an impressionistic style where I love to capture the energy and the feelings of the event, not just what we see in front of us. You already have your photographer for that. The photographer is going to capture way more beautiful photorealistic images of you than any painter could ever do. So I want to bring something different and capture that. This is the swirling that I felt on that dance floor packed with all of my friends.
I love it. And your initial answer about the marketing being part of hiding is so relatable. When I started my website, I didn't even put my name on it. I was so afraid. I did not have Nina anywhere. I was scared to death of being found. So it just shows for everybody that, it's okay to kind of ease into it, but you'll get there.
Wow, Nina, I love hearing that because I never would have guessed. One of the things that draws me to your podcast so much is I experience you as so human and so present. And I love the way you crack yourself up and you say, hang on, I got to stop for coffee. And how you'll be talking about things that sound very woo woo of manifestation in one part of a sentence. And then the second part of the sentence will be about wrestling. There's just so much Nina in it. So that's really inspiring for me to hear as I'm continuing on the journey of showing up more as myself.
Yeah. And, speaking of that, I'm really curious to hear how being on Instagram through doing this strategy has changed things for you. One thing I try to instill in people is that Instagram actually can be a positive place. And I know social media can be very negative, and it does take effort to make it positive. But when you start seeing it help your business, I find that's where a lot of the positivity can come in. So let's go back to episode 170. It was where I was giving my strategy for local leads on Instagram. Can you recall what about that strategy resonated with you and made you want to try it?
I can. My dad, who I lost a couple years ago, while he was alive, always tried to get me to see business like a board game. I'm a game geek. I love strategy board games, but business always felt so deeply, intensely personal and emotional that I couldn't get there. And as I was listening to your podcast, and I was binging your podcast and Brandy Gar's podcast at the same time, and your two voices together were this beautiful synergy for me to start to actually conceptualize, oh yeah, I can see this as a game. I can see this as a way where if I go out and make this move, there are things that happen, and it's not because of me, and it's not about me. It's because I took that move on the game board. And the way you presented your strategy was so do this, and then do this, and then do this. And I was like, these are steps I can follow. She has made this really clear. I feel like Instagram engagement before that was kind of like, I'm supposed to what? So you broke it down so clearly that I was like, yes, I can see that as moving my game piece to the next step, moving my game piece to the next step, moving my game piece to the next step. And it made me actually excited about the potential of being able to do that instead of so afraid of it being about me failing as a human.
So for those, if you haven't listened to the episode yet, part of the strategy is, I would say, rather than waiting for stuff to come up on your feed, you find where your target audience is. So for Heidi, it may be if they're Los Angeles area bridal publications, or for me out here, there's certain vineyards and wineries that couples go to. They get engaged there, or they celebrate their bachelorette there. For someone like Heidi, I find her booking period can probably be longer in somebody's engagement, where when you're a venue, you want to get them right away. So in those instances, you're going to look for accounts that somebody follows as soon as they're engaged. For Heidi, you can extend that. You can be looking at bridal shower locations, engagement photo locations, venues, and interacting with the people who either check in at those locations or follow those accounts. So is that what you started gamifying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I started, the first thing that you said in that episode was the big local wedding influencer accounts. So I looked for those. And what I was finding was that the vast majority of the two things that you said in that episode to look at in each account were their recent followers and the people who had engaged on their most recent posts. So I did both of those on that local influencer. I believe the first one I started with was California Wedding Day magazine out here. And what I found was basically everyone engaging was vendors. And I was a little bit like, oh, I want to connect to brides. But you had said in that episode, like, connecting with vendors is really important. And I've been realizing, especially because A, I am newer in my business life cycle, and B, because I can be booked right up until, if I happen to be free the day before a wedding, that is anybody that couples interact with through that whole process could be a referral source for me. And with being new in my business, something that's so important for me is just being in the world where other wedding pros are. So I cast aside the initial, like, I want brides. And started engaging with the vendors that I found on those influencer accounts to start.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because sometimes I'll get a client when they're in a premium market, they really feel that their follower count is important. But I'm such a stickler I just do organic engagement. So I'm not running ads for followers, and I'm also not promoting to pay for followers. So when their goal is to grow their followers as soon as possible, then I tell them we're going to be doing more engagement with vendors than just couples. If that's your goal, because vendors do want to support one another and follow each other. And it does help to be showing up in those spaces still, and the brides will come. Did you find that couples started appearing as you broadened the places you engaged?
I have started finding couples now as I broadened. Yeah. And the broadening was really enjoyable to do as sort of an intuitive follow the rabbit hole process. I thought when I started this out, because I listened to that podcast and I was like, ooh, I'm going to take her up on this challenge and I'm going to document everything that's happening. And you had mentioned that you use a spreadsheet in the beginning. So I was like, I'm going to make a spreadsheet of everyone I'm engaging with. And my ADD brain was immediately like, that's way too much. You are complicating this. Maybe that was the sensible part of my brain rather than the ADD part of my brain. So I started just enjoying the ride of clicking through this person like that. Let me look at their profile. Oh, and who engaged with their most recent posts. Let me go to those profiles, because each other vendor that I went to, they're going to have other vendors and they're going to have couples engaging with them. So it usually wasn't the first or second or third account in the train that I went through. It was several stages down where I started to get couples. And just in the last couple of weeks, so maybe after like doing a month of doing this strategy, I finally found the ones that you said were absolute jackpots. Somebody doing a local wedding service giveaway.
Yes.
And that was like, look at all of these highly motivated couples. Oh my goodness. That was like hallelujah day.
That is so funny. Yes, when you find those, the only people entering them are couples, or they're tagging someone who is. So those are so juicy. And another thing I found is with the collaborator feature, a vendor may invite the couple as collaborators. So then those likes are also including the couples circle, and couples tend to have friends who are either engaged or about to be. So those can be really good as well.
Yeah, yeah. Nina, you mentioned just a moment ago people searching for a really large follower count. And that brought to mind a question that I had as I was engaging through this. So, Instagram's algorithm is so smart. And as I started working through engagement strategy, it was like the shuckster slimy internet marketers out there knew I was working through an engagement strategy. And I started seeing the targeted ads for like 20,000 followers in 30 days with this process. She did it, you can too. So, can you talk to us about what's going on there? Is that just hot air? Is that how do we filter through that and stay with this realistic step by step growth process?
Anything, if they're saying pay us, the result is followers, it's paid followers. The only way you could do paid ads that may target accounts that are likely to follow you, but that may not be fruitful either, especially in the wedding industry where we kind of want this graduating class of people. And I have worked with accounts where they were brand new and they were either one was, they were a directory and one was a brand new conference and they didn't care. They just wanted the number. So it was like, fine. But what you get is you're not getting real followers, you're not getting real engagement, you're not getting what's going to result in actual leads. And it becomes, I think our couples today are smart. So if they see that you have 10K followers, but that you only have 3 likes on your last post, it's going to be a disconnect. So you're still going to have to catch up and fix that. And it flags your account to Instagram. Your engagement isn't going to match your followers. It's going to see all these fake accounts following you, and your account can really get penalized because they're seeing the percentage of engaged users based on your follower count is so low. So it doesn't, I say if your goal is more followers, either to work with an ad strategist who will get it for you if you want to pay, if paying is worth it to you, or to engage in your local community. Go to the directories, go to the not vendor listing, see all the vendors in your area, message them on Instagram, follow them, they'll probably follow back. Small businesses, everyone's really supportive of each other, and it's a way to kind of get your follower count up quick without having to pay for fake followers, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Unfollowing, maybe I'm a dinosaur in the Instagram days or just got bad intel somewhere back there. But I remember the days of like follow for follow, likes for likes, like is and does so talk to us more about who we're following, because does the follower to following ratio matter? Is there a problem with just following everybody in the whole world aside from making it so we can't really watch our own feeds?
Yeah.
How do we deal with the following part of this?
I don't like an even ratio. I like for the followers to be higher than the amount you're following. I personally, it's just if I see somebody has 5,000 followers and they're following 5,000 accounts, to me, it's just like, it looks as if it's follow for follow, but I know that's getting kind of nitpicky. But for the accounts that I work with, I like to follow couples. I like to follow their actual couples, not a couple I'm trying to court, let's say. I like to follow booked couples, past and present. And I like to keep engaging with them. I want them to remember that you exist. Because live painting, God, what a great gift to give to somebody else getting married. Or even photographers who end up kind of doing the legacy work with clients, or their friends get engaged and then they see you on their feed again, or they see you interact with them. And then they go, oh yeah, let me tell my friend about so-and-so. So I really like following the couples. Also, then you get to see their anniversary posts and remember, and then share them to your stories. I like to share vendors who are either they're on your list or that you work with, or venues that you'd like to be at. So I won't follow every single vendor out there, but I'll follow ones that my clients have worked with. If I see they've been tagged by someone, ones that are relationships that you want to maintain.
Okay, that makes sense. I've definitely been doing too much following. I've always, my whole Instagram life had like twice as many accounts following as followers, and I haven't changed that ratio.
Well, that's also okay. And you can always go through Instagram now, can feed out dead accounts and will be like, do you want to clear these inactive accounts? And that's kind of just like a quick way to do a spring cleaning with it. And, when somebody follows you, and this kind of answers to the follow for follow. Sometimes when you go on your Instagram and you click followers, it will say most interacted with, right? If you're not ending up in that place for people, the follow then just becomes another number kind of on your board. You want them to be engaging with you and seeing your stuff on their feed and interacting. So that's why people will create stories on Instagram that has those buttons like tap the expression or vote on this poll, because once somebody does that, it triggers Instagram that they're engaging with you and it helps you to come up even more. So sometimes like at the start of the year, say, are you a 2026 bride or groom? Are you getting married in 2026? And then people comment saying, yes, this is my date. This is where I'm getting married. That then is going to help you come up in their feeds more because they interacted. So finding even like Taylor Swift, right? That the time we're recording this, she just got engaged. So you're seeing it ad nauseum. But if you were to post something maybe controversial and say, who's tired of hearing about this engagement? All those people who are going to comment back, and then that's a flag to Instagram that they're interacting with you. So trying to think of those things that you can do that will get people to engage, so when you're selling, it comes up again and they see it. So Heidi, I'm thinking now would be great for you to do a giveaway at the top of the year where it's like share your wedding date and where you're getting married, and see who, then you'll get all those interactions. Maybe you'll find some more venues to follow, and that could be really good.
I love it. I'm going to make a note to do that.
Yeah.
Never let a Nina idea go to waste. They're gold.
When you started doing, so for me, I do these in kind of like 10-minute sprints. You don't want to do too much at one time because Instagram may think you are a bot. So I have to resist. But what did you notice after doing some of your engagement sprints?
Yeah. Well, I did too much and landed myself in Instagram jail.
Which you can get out of. It's like Monopoly. You have to just wait like 3 rolls time, like to get out of jail.
And like I went and I Googled, I was like, I'm not gonna bother Nina with this. She's already taught me so much from her podcast. I'm gonna Google it and figure it out. Yeah. And I think I had to log out and log back in and maybe even like uninstall and reinstall the app, or I did a few different steps and I got out of Instagram jail. The first thing that I noticed immediately for me, and it's a little bit good and a little bit bad, was how addictive it was. So that I was not capable. What am I, like 6 weeks into this process now, and I'm just starting to get capable of doing maybe a 20-minute sprint. I haven't gotten to where I can cut myself off of Instagram at 10 minutes yet. But the first week, it was like 2 hours at a time because it was fun.
Fun. And I get to spread it out amongst a bunch of accounts. If I had just one account, I'd probably be just like you, where it's like, I don't want to stop. This is
no. But what's amazing about that is I was spending that time on Instagram anyway, but I was spending that time doom scrolling, and I was spending that time comparing myself to other people, and I'm wishing I had what other artists had and blah, 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 and all this stuff that was putting me in a really negative headspace. And just switching that same amount of time to playing the game was like massive dopamine hit for my brain. I was like, I like Instagram now. And the other thing that struck me immediately after my first day was the statistics that you gave of do this for 10 minutes, put the phone down, come back, you'll see 2 new followers later. So, I did more than 10 minutes. I did 12 times that. And I came back and I had like 20 new followers. And it was like, oh, wait, the numbers that Nina said like played out here for me. That's okay. That's fun. That makes me want to do this again.
I love that. And it's really, it is kind of a game. And it's, for me, I remember my first client, I've done it again. I'm mentioning wrestling on Monday nights. They would notice more engagement because during the commercials during Monday Night Raw, I would engage and they'd be like, wow, look at this growth. And it was because I was spending all my free time during the commercials doing the engagement. So for anyone who still has cable, like we do at the Adio house, it is or now on Netflix there's commercials, right? Commercials are coming back and they're going to help your engagement. This is a great time to sort of use that strategy.
I love that.
And now we're going to pause for a quick sponsorship break. Wedding pros, let me ask you something. Have you been thinking about running ads but feel overwhelmed by where to start, whether it's Google ads, TikTok ads, or Meta ads? It can feel like a maze. And that's exactly why the I Do Society created the DIY ads kits. Step-by-step resources built exclusively for wedding professionals who want results from ads without the guesswork. Inside, you're going to get ChatGPT prompts that write ad copy designed to convert. How do we know this? Because Mark Chapman and the I Do Society have been doing this for hundreds of wedding brands. You can even listen to one of his past episodes where he tells us all about TikTok ads. You'll also get Canva templates that give you scroll stopping images and videos that you can use for your ads. You'll receive how-to videos from the I Do Society team walking you through trending ad strategies and step-by-step guides so you can set up your campaigns the right way the first time. Here's the best part. When you grab your kit before October 31st, 2025, you'll save $200. After that, the price goes up to $597. The ROI on this is huge, guys. And when you want to work with an ads manager, that can cost thousands monthly on top of the ad spend. With this DIY ad kit, if you get it in October, you're spending just $397 plus whatever you decide to do for your ad spend. And the return on investment is all yours and a big opportunity. So I'm going to have the link in the show notes. We'll also link Mark's episode on the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast in the show notes. So you can check out TikTok ads and Mark's ad kits today. Now, so it's definitely addicting when you get that kind of dopamine hit and you're seeing the followers come in and really reminding people that you exist is how I try to view it or tell people. It's reminding people you exist. Did it inspire you to post more?
Oh, yes. When I started seeing I have new followers, it was like, these are people who are newly interested in what I'm doing. And I was used to posting and getting my cousin saying, this is pretty. With new people coming in, it was like, this might be somebody who would engage with my new post. So let me put a post there for them to engage with. And it did naturally inspire me to want to post more. And then spending time on other local vendors' profiles also inspired me with the kind of content that they were posting. It felt like I didn't just need to make up post ideas out of the blue. I could be like, gosh, I loved how this read. Let me do something like that in my own voice. It was daily feeding of the inspiration tanks.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't ask you in advance if you had any stats. I know you've messaged some to me throughout the process. Do you have any of your analytics you could share with us? And I can go back
Yeah.
to our message to pull them if you don't have it.
So I think the 30-day analytics were really fun because
Mhm.
Instagram like tracks that rolling 30 days. I'm just pulling this up on my phone
Right.
too. So I know that I started with my little baby account of 1,470 followers and 5,500 views. So 30 days later, I was up to 21,639 views. So I had multiplied my 30-day page view essentially times 4.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when Nina taught me to click through after that follow, she said, "Okay, what's your external link tabs?" And I said,
Yes.
"Do I need to go into my Google Analytics to find what's coming from social? How do I do that?" I didn't even know that I could tap through the views page. So I went into profile activity. So for 30 days, my profile activity had gone up 685%. My profile visits had gone up 686%, and my external link taps, the raw number was really small, it was 7, but that was a 600% increase because I only had one person going to my website the 30 days before that. So all of those metrics went up 600% in my first 30 days.
That is crazy. Because let me tell you,
Yeah.
when I'm starting with a new account, the goal is to first get us to 12 link taps, which may sound really small, but I tell people couples are doom scrolling and we want to stop them first from doom scrolling to get to your profile. And then we want to stop them from being at your profile to go to your website. So those 7 clicks, they're not just random clicks. These are very intentional clicks. So even though the number starts small, my goal for you would be in the next 2 months to get it to 12. And that's why all my packages, you have to do at least 3 months. And when I say you'll have leads within the first 3 months, that's why, because it takes time to grow an organic strategy. So you may not get them in month 1 yet, but by month 3, that's when we're going to start to really see things on autopilot. So for you to have 7 in the first month is something I am just so delighted to hear, especially when that's 600% more than previously.
Thank you. All right, challenge accepted.
Yeah. And then your followers now are at 1640. So that's almost, if we just, after 10 more, that's 200 more followers, because you're at 4.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not 10 more. You're at 1470. So, but we're almost at the 200 increase.
Yeah. I think so. It's 180 new followers in about 6 weeks. So 30 new followers a week.
Incredible. That's incredible. Wow.
Definitely never thought it was possible with my little like crickets Instagram before.
Yeah.
And I had tried Instagram engagement a little bit for my mural side of my business years ago, and I fell into the trap of interacting with other artists. And you were the first person who ever gave guidance on how to find where customers are. So thank you so much for that.
What's also really cool, Heidi, is like I'm looking at your most recent post, which had 74 likes and 10 comments. Like you're having the engagement on the post to go with it. You know, another reel you did 70 likes, 8 comments. Like these are really good numbers. Even one that's not a reel, it's 29 likes, but 10 comments. Like this is really good. That's really good engagement, even for an esteemed account. You know, for my venues, they're not necessarily getting 10 comments every post. So that's
I have been working hard on, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No.
On using collaborations. And I wonder if each of those posts that you mentioned are collaboration posts, because that definitely gets,
which is because I really wanted to like sing your specific praises. And so you have people tagged in it, but they're not collaborators. One of them was, okay. The first one, 74 and 10, that's just you, which is really cool. And the one with 29 and 10 comments is just you. The one in the middle, 70 and 8, that was a collaboration, which is so great to do, because then it looks like you're at maybe a botanical garden type of venue. And then that gets you on their feed. So huge, so important. And that all plays a role in the followers growing. So part of it is the gamifying with the engagement. Part of it is by giving each post you do its biggest chance for organic growth. And that's by putting in the location, tagging the vendors, doing the collaborations, having the SEO in your captions. So it all works together. I know during this period, you also, Heidi, participated in Heidi Thompson's Book More Wedding Summit. And so you were changing your profile, even when right before the podcast, when I sent your bio, you're like, wait, that's from my website and I want to update it because of the summit.
Yeah. And I was incredibly fortunate enough to win Heidi's 6-month scholarship to her Wedding Business Collective. So it's going to be 6 months of business incubating growth over here.
And I think that just shows that the universe, here now I'm getting the universe is supporting you.
Whoa at me.
It's supporting you on your path. Now, I mentioned that leads come within the first, 90 days or 3 months. So have you seen leads come in yet from this strategy? And it's okay if not.
Not yet. But me just being more active on Instagram and using Instagram as a hub, I have started sending leads that I meet in the real world if I'm out doing a open house at a venue. Live painting is a great vendor to have at these venue showcases to help elevate what the experience can be. So that's where I'm meeting leads right now. And I'm actually not sending them back directly to my website. I don't have an email mailing list. I don't have an auto follow-up sequence. I'm sending them back to my Instagram, and I'm connecting with them on Instagram because that's a very convenient place for me to nurture those connections where I'm
Mhm.
engaging anyway. And I don't have to automate anything. I don't have to write a sequence. I can just connect with the human beings that I've met in real life in this little world that now feels much less like a popularity contest that I'm going to lose and much more like a playground where I can go with humans that I have met in the world and I like.
Fantastic. And I'm really confident that whether it's using Instagram to close leads you've met in the wild or sticking with this strategy to see what happens in the next month and a half, this is when it
Yeah.
starts to really get on autopilot and you start to see the leads come in, especially Heidi and I recording this at the end of August. So now as November, December, January comes and even further out, I expect you're going to see a lot more interest developing. So it's maybe we'll do another update at the end of that time
Fun.
period.
Fun. Let's do it. And that last quarter is the time period that you refer to as engagement season, right? As the
Mhm.
holidays come
And
in.
what's
Okay.
fun is that you don't necessarily, I think you'll grow during engagement season, maybe get some people asking, just gathering information, rather than booking. But I think your engagement season probably gets prolonged because they don't have to nail down the event pater right away. And maybe
Yeah.
there's incentives you can do, right? Where it's like whether you're recommended at a venue, if they reserve the date over 9 months, they get maybe the thank you cards included or something like that. Because really, it's a matter of getting your calendar filled sooner and getting those deposits earlier, because we're busy during the summer, we're slow in winter. So maybe you want those deposits in the winter. So by saying if you book your 2026 or 2027, even now, date by February 2026, you get free thank you cards of your piece of art, could be a way to kind of capitalize on engagement season. So that's just me thinking out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I was taking note of that while you were speaking. I was like, not going to lose that Nina gem.
Can you tell us about the thank you card? Because that is an offer. If anyone listening refers Heidi to a client of theirs, or it's even something they want a picture of their own venue or something like that, can you tell us about that offer?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my first time offering. I haven't offered it publicly before. It's just something that I've used in my own relationship building. It's thank you cards where the front of the card is a picture of the completed painting. So, like, there's a wedding painting there. That could be the front of the thank you card that the couples can send to their guests after the wedding.
I love it. So if they mention that they heard you on the podcast, they'll get free thank you cards as part of their painting package.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
I think this is a good segue for me to open what I have. And then we'll
Oh
see if
boy.
you have any engagement strategy questions. Buster, the cat, actually loves packing paper. And so he's going to see the bubble wrap and the packaging. He actually was doing his like security control and sniffing it when it
Oh
was
my goodness. Has Buster been on the podcast before? I don't think I've seen his face yet.
only his tail, like you'll see his tail like bop by. He respects the workspace. He does not come on my desk. He does not
Oh.
come on my chair. It's
Oh.
very interesting. I actually have cat lady scissors. These are cat ears.
I love those.
Cute
So
buddy.
cute.
So yeah, Buster respects the space of the office, which sometimes I wish he would come up. I like to show him all, but he doesn't want to be
Yeah.
shown. So I gotta
Who
respect.
doesn't love a good kitty cat on screen?
Yeah, especially I have to say, okay, no, I'm ready, so I don't want to say what I say. I never would have guessed that this, oh my God. So those watching on YouTube can see Heidi has taken an image of me from a speaking engagement and put me in a wrestling ring with Ric Flair. Woo!
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to curse, but holy, and the Ric Flair looks like Ric Flair. Like, look at that for those on YouTube. Wow, this is very special.
Yay.
Oh my, I'm so glad you got to see the reaction because that was
Me
probably like,
too.
my husband's gonna die, my father's gonna die, we're all gonna die. Oh my gosh. I love it.
You've made my day. I don't always get to see the reaction, so that is
Oh,
such a
that was
treat.
so fun. And think for those who are in more of a ultra premium sector, right? Jackie Watson events at this event, Maine Wedding, spoke about how they do client gifts and how that's kind of part of the ultra luxury process. Imagine this being your client gift. Like if they don't have a live painter, that you get them this, and they get to keep this painting, or that you get their parents' wedding day as a painting, something
Mm,
that's legacy like there's just so many different ways this can be used to people listening as a gift, or, if you're thanking a venue for a relationship and a really fruitful year together, getting a venue painting for them. Like there's so many ways this can be used for listeners, but even Heidi, ways that you can now market it if you wanted to planners, saying like this could be your gift that you give
yeah.
couples. It doesn't have to be done live. You could take your favorite painting, and I wonder if you were to start promoting that now, between now and the holidays, right? How do you want
Yeah.
to thank your 2025 couples? Get them, a painting. So that's just something I'm thinking of, because I think it's a terrific gift. And I am just this is going to be such a great vision board piece for me. Cause like wrestling is a big part of my life and interest. And I feel that I've been able to do public speaking and being on reels and showing up despite how hard it is, like we discussed, because of wrestling and all the promos they cut, that it kind of like taught me how you just gotta like fake it and do it and show up. So that's really cool.
Yay.
Wow. So now I have to just take a breather for the afterglow. Get through the afterglow of it all. Heidi, did you have any questions that developed while you were doing this process?
Yeah. I touched on a couple of them already. One that I have is you mentioned just so briefly in the Book More Wedding Summit something about only engaging with public accounts. And I've noticed, and I wanted to get your take on doing this, sometimes when I come across it, first of all, I was amazed how many private accounts there are. You don't see
Yeah.
them as a casual user because they're private. And I'm like, whoa, so many accounts are private. And oftentimes I get so woo. It becomes such an intuitive process for me of doing this engagement. And I'll see a private account, but I'll just feel like I should follow this person so they get a ping and maybe we'll connect. Is there a problem to doing that? Is that like an unwelcome engagement, or what are your thoughts on trying to reach private accounts?
They still have the choice not to accept. So I don't think it's bad, especially if you're not badgering them, being like, hey, follow, hey, you didn't accept, hey, I think as long as
Yeah.
they have the choice to accept or not. So I think it's fine to do. Here's what I wouldn't do, right? You're doing it very intentionally, which I think makes sense. If you were going to a venue by you and you were following everyone who follows them and just going down the line, you would get
Mm.
flagged for that. And I don't think it would be effective. But doing it intuitively like that, I think is fine to do. Because sometimes, even though all you're seeing is the bio and the little icon, sometimes you can see they've had a Disney proposal that's in their icon, or you can see where they're at or who they are, or they have something in their bio that resonates with you. So it's still really curated. So I don't think that's bad to do. I would just, for anyone listening who hears that, I would not go to an account and follow all their followers. That's what happens when my sister will be like, hey, this other wedding marketer started following me. And then it's because they're going to my followers and just following everybody, because everybody in my family is getting them following. So you'll kind of get caught if
Uh,
you do that.
right. Right. That makes sense. I love that you mentioned the Disney proposal. That's been one place that's been fun for me to discover. In your podcast episode, you talked about the influencer accounts and the venues and the great restaurants to get engaged. And it was all very local based. And as I've been kind of feeling more into who are my people and realizing that I just love working in fairy tale fantasy spheres, I started to recognize like, oh, Disney brides are definitely my people. And so I've started engaging with it's interesting because it's so bi-coastal and I want to focus on the California side in my outreach-based marketing. So finding Disneyland accounts. And even though it's not brides, and even though many of them maybe will never become business leads, I personally am having so much fun in engaging with the people on Disney accounts. I'm like, yeah, these are my people.
Yes,
And I have
oh no, continue.
Sure. I have my wild pie in the sky dream is to serve so many Disney brides that a Club 33 membership to take them to for their contract signing makes business sense.
That's amazing. And anyone who's a Disney nerd listening will know what that means because it is the most exclusive part in all of Disney. I'm actually wearing Mickey ears today. They're Mickey
Oh, so
earrings.
cute.
I'm wondering, I don't know how long it takes you to create a painting, right? But if you were to just create a proposal that happened at the castle as a painting, right? And kind of pin it there, or maybe you pick somewhere from California Adventure, DCA, or one of the hotels and just start painting where you'd like to be, right? And
Yeah.
letting those couples see like, oh, I could have my Disney proposal photo turned into a painting. Or maybe they see that and that leads them in to start following you, then booking you for your fairy tale wedding, or even kind of leading in. And I don't mean, I'm just bringing this up because it's the Disney painter. For you, you may be like, my art's nothing like that, but trying to think of a reel where it's talking about like the Thomas Kincaid Disney paintings and then saying you get your own life painting, just like
Yeah.
Thomas Kincaid did all the Disney fairy tales. Who's going to paint your wedding? And then it's going to be you, and showing all those things. So by tapping into your target audience, discovering where you like to be online will help you realize, all right, now what do I need to post to grab those people once they come to my page? So that's why I said to Heidi, maybe if you made a painting of a Disney proposal, it even connects the dots further for those couples. So it's all about kind of connecting those dots and making them realize why they want you on their online sphere.
That's so brilliant. And anybody watching on YouTube saw me reach for my notebook again. I'm like, Nina.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like, this is what it's like, guys, when we do a strategy call, except there'll be obviously more intentional strategy behind it. I would be showing Heidi the engagement strategy again, going into the locations, but then we'd be coming up with her content like we're doing now and all these really fun things. And Heidi just gets on the podcast because she was so kind and buttering me up on the Instagram messages. No, and let me tell you guys listening, like to any podcast you listen to, don't assume that people are like messaging them, giving feedback. I don't get that much. So when Heidi gave it, I was so grateful to her, to you, because it was just as meaningful to me as you getting the strategy you feel was to you. Because for me, it's like, okay, someone's hearing it, someone's trying it. Maybe we've changed somebody's business. Maybe now you'll stay in business longer. Maybe you'll realize you can do this and it will start a thing. So it means a lot. And I'm really very grateful.
That's amazing to hear, Nina. It's so easy to hear people like you on podcasts and put you on a pedestal and think that, see you like an inaccessible celebrity, and to be able to have human connection and have a positive impact on somebody who's in my ear so many hours on so many days is really incredible. So I love hearing that. I have one more question for you. So now that engaging on Instagram is so exciting and so inspiring, I already struggled with being on social media too much. And now I really want to be on it all of the time. How have you found, maybe it's different because you're so often working on client accounts, but do you have any tips that you can share with all of us working to engage in this on setting boundaries for ourselves, taking care of our mental health, not spending too much time going through the online rabbit holes, and making sure we're doing the real world stuff too?
Yeah, I think it's really like the pockets of time one. Like, it's okay if I was doing it during the commercial breaks or having a specific end time, where for me it's once I'm in my bedroom with Murder She Wrote on, engagement is done for the day. I can do other stuff on my phone where I look up my reading and maybe play some games because I need to like de-stress my mind, but the engagement is done. Also, I say like this is the same for my clients. Like, After 10 p.m., I don't want people to be getting alerts on their phone that a client's that's like, I don't want someone to be looking at their phone anywhere between, 10 a.m. and 6 a.m. being like, why is Crescent Beach Club liking all my posts? Like I don't want to be engaging on behalf of a client during after hours, I guess is what I would say. So that doesn't
Yeah.
mean work hours, it means nothing past 10 p.m. Like once I feel like people are in bed, I don't want to be engaging on that account. So that kind of helps me too, because sometimes I will get the inspiration and it will be late. And if that happens for me on my own account, then I'll interact with different time zones. So I'll look for
Oh,
people
nice.
and vendors in different areas. So I think having clear boundaries of your start and finish time, some people like to have where Instagram tracks how often you're on it so you can see the amount of time you're spending. But you have to figure out what time makes sense, right? Because if I'm doing it during the commercial breaks, but I'm watching wrestling with my husband, then maybe that's not so great. So
Mhm.
kind of thinking about how does this best fit into my life?
Yeah, yeah. I love thinking about it from the perspective of what is the effect this makes for the person who's receiving that ping. Like, I
Mhm.
would never want to be disturbing somebody's sleep or their mental health, and framing it in I can be more loving to my clients and potential clients by setting these boundaries is more compelling for me than, oh, I should be taking care of myself with
Right,
these
but take care of
boundaries.
someone else. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Heidi, where can everybody find you online and follow you?
Yes. My website is withlovefromheidi.com and my Instagram is at withlovefromheidi.
I hope you all follow her on Instagram and shoot her a message and just join in the support. She actually has the photo behind her as one of the pinned posts. So that is really cool to look at because I've been admiring it all day. And you'll get to see
Thanks.
if Heidi implements any of the ideas that we've been chatting about. I think if I know her, she's going to. So if
Well, now that I have your whole audience holding me accountable.
yes, yeah,
Yes.
no pressure. Luckily, it's not that big, Heidi. So it's just me and Buster. No, you, me, and Buster. This is it. No. Well, this was so fun and such a delight. I will be posting when this episode goes live. I will post on Instagram the painting so everybody can see. I'm holding it up for those on YouTube. But for now, I think that's going to be a wrap on this episode. Heidi, thank you so much for your energy, for your gift, and just for your positivity.
Thank you so much, Nina. It's been such a delight.